Go to YouTube. If I wouldn't to suggest you go to YouTube, honey, I'm live streaming it. So you can watch me play this game. Mm. Your discussion board is due Thursday. Oh, nice and cold. And you get a award for those who want the game as difficult as possible, requesting godlike reflexes and strategy. Note this cannot be changed mid-game, so a new game must be started to change difficulty.
Awesome.
Get in the boat, boy.
Still want me to tie to the boat?
Boy. That is enough.
Father?
What?
Did something change? The forest feels different.
Everything is different, boy. Try not to dwell on it.
Alright.
Yes, sir.
Love you too. Bye.
That was the last.
There do I see my mother. Oh, there do I see my father. Oh, there do they call to me. 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 She's ready. I'm sorry.
Squeeze. This knife was hers. Now it is yours. She taught you not.
She knew.
Show me.
Now?
Now.
What are you doing now?
What are we hunting?
You are hunting deer.
Which way?
In the direction of deer.
Okay. This way. Father, why are we doing this now?
I need to know you can survive the journey.
Then we leave for the mountain?
Depends on you. Hunt.
I didn't want nothing to eat.
Yeah, this way.
What did you find?
Tracks. Not deer. I'll keep looking.
Recording in progress. Hello. I hope you're all doing good. You know, it's hot like everywhere. Makes it kind of miserable for everybody. I'm sorry. I wish I could control the weather for you too. I'm tired, but I can't. All right. This is week 3. And this week we are going to look at relative time. We're moving in progression, okay, to
More tracks.
time.
Yeah.
That's where we're moving. All the
Two
things
rounds.
that we're doing,
Could be a lot more.
we have to do
Good.
to get the ABC
Oh.
project. And then
Now what?
the final thing, which is transfer pricing. Now, this week,
This way, boy.
Hup. Oh,
okay, so
wait. Deer tracks. They're fresh. This way.
chapters 13, 15, and 20. And again, same thing, discussion due on Thursday, project due on Sunday. You are all
Slow down, boy.
this week's project
You're hunting deer,
is
not
not
chasing it.
Yes,
Yeah. Not math, okay? No math in this week's project. This week's project is the sound scorecard. We will talk about it again, but it is not math. It
We
is
broke our bridge. How are we gonna get across?
Step aside.
It is actually, it's strategy.
Wow.
So you're going to have to look at the company, figure out what the strategy should be, define goals, define your initiatives to get your goals, and define your measures all together.
What are you doing? Now it's party's up.
We will look
Open
at
fire.
this. A lot of
Fire. When I tell you to
but
fire,
I have stuff I was
I'm sorry.
do not be sorry. Be better. Fight it.
Okay. Yeah, a relative. But there's a lot to read on it. And really it's about
Fight
understand what it is. The most important part is the link working with a balanced scorecard. It's the idea of taking, here's my goal, right? So I have a strategy, and then I have goals set, things I want to do. I want to increase sales. Well, then you have a vision. And all look at that, check what and then ahead. That's my vision. That's what that says. I have to have a measurement of sales. That's what it says. So that it's the hospital. So we're going to have to divide it into sections of the balance of the card. And then section the goal. Deal with the problem. That goal spelled out areas of that goal. Goal, so, and that goal would then have initiative. So we'll talk about it all. We can start with the balanced scorecard. Okay? Balanced scorecard is so many things. Alright? So I'll have to it's not that old. And not what we want to do about that. You know, I feel like that concept and turns it into measurable objectives, right? And then create initiatives, things to go and do, and ways to measure them. And it helps us work with financial and non-financial things. Okay? We can have lots of different types of measurements to measure the results of the when we talk about measurement, one of the things that I always say is make a decision, state the word government. Constantly right still right now. Anyway, you'll see that this is hundreds of pages because at the back end, all the nonsense and all the natural are not necessarily other than the amount of things that they have other goals. Increasing making better so it allows you to make your focus and then better available.
God damn it!
And, you know, each perspective has its own viewpoint. view where we're looking at it. It's a focus. And each focus we then have goals of that focus. And then we have and of course, like in a financial perspective, you're going to measure financial numbers. But in a customer perspective, it's not necessarily financial numbers off the statement that's making up. It can be, it can be sales, but things like marketing or customer satisfaction. Things like that are non-financial statement numbers. So the idea is making it very exact line between what we want, what takes a vague reality, takes a vague reality, you mean that you do it, and that's the whole thing about the balance scorecard. There's ways to make it comfortable, right? Without giving us a place. The success is not always the same way for everybody. So we want to have everybody stable different viewpoints of success. And that's how we build it in our team. Right? One thing to be successful on the balance sheet and have all the customers, right? It doesn't happen all the time. Right? Or hustle. And that was very example of something that I can't understand. And I read up on the and forgot this point. And and he allows outside perspective. So we have to on each section and we take quote that slide. And direct thought. Yes. That's the idea. And that allows us to get undistracted. All right. So we're going to define our slides. Those are our measures, right? And we try to just try our best. Think on that try our best. This on that multiple assessments. Right? Even if they diverge, such as that. right? But once you measure those things, you get control. And then someone who has responsibility for those things, and accountability for those things, and the variance is involved. Just because we start off, if we do an infinite decimal, right? And let's talk about percent and the add 4,000 more sales in order for us to do that. So even every 4,000 sales, right? So, we guarantee that we're going to get extra sales. We've got to get extra commitment. We and estimate, and if it fails, it fails. We never have to give it right. How much is what we stand, how large, what happens. In order to see if it's wrong or if out of the size of the initiative, something else is happening. I mean, today, I'm sure COVID, right? COVID, you got the window, right? Today, we're much more right? A lot of it. This is insane. If you look, hopefully not, but it's unfair if you don't get it all fixed. Prices go up. But for the moment, this is really clear because as a venture, buy it. Because of what you can say, John, this is horrible thing. Right? Security. I want to have to say, that's a great deal of time working on tools that you find for, right? Where I know exactly how many things you get things. So I know that's a picture. I know it's the library driver wanted to treat me for package. He got excited when he saw this funky sign from the and realized that it was this concept of what we call concept. Basically, next time he stopped by, the homeowners actually had police over in front of and this is how he came up. So, something like this happens. Oh, this is back and forth, right? That's all. But they're not excuses for the variance. It's not excuses. You did not tell me he was a white guy. That's a shame. That's valid. That's understanding. I think. So, and then we talk about this, right? Yes, ma'am. Idea. This is what this is obviously everybody anything that a process. It needs to be communicated on a level. Management has to be if you've got negative negativity, then it slows down. I don't like what's coming to us. People are bad and bad things, right? So we kind of want everybody to be in a contribution from the condition. Don't use too many metrics. Good. Right? Too many get lost. Get lost in all the numbers. You don't want to be lost in numbers. You want to have very big metrics that measure as closely as possible exactly what it's. The better and the more aligned the measurement, the less measurements. Linkage. linkage, like, and I'm going to say this because it's going to be in the comments all the time. Linkage. You have to link that are linked to the strategy, to the goal. Link the goal to the initiative, what I'm going to do. And link the initiative to the measure. So you're going to have a strategy that you're going to discuss in comparison, right? And then you're going to go into your 4 sections. And in your 4 sections, you're going to have goals. Here's my goal, financially, right? Here's how I'm going to get to that goal, my initiative. And here's how I'm going to measure it, right? And that goal needs to link to that strategy. Linking is so important here to get the direct line. It's not like this, it's not like this, it's a straight line down. Drive, goal, measurement, okay, initiative, application. Because then we know that we're getting where we're going. Clean, straight, open. And infrequent updates or reviews is not watching those. Not monitoring, but I gotta always check on it. Right? Because then you can catch the deviations quickly and correct them, analyze them, correct them. Catch the variances, see what variances happen, analyze them. So, this is a strategy translation process. So we have a vision strategy that goes down to the process. Each process has an objective, a measure, progress. Before we have a measurement, we have a target that we want to find. Okay? It's a straight line from the vision straight down. It just pops out into 4 different types. Now, this is a strategy. This is really interesting because one of the reasons I included it is because if you look at it, okay, our overall goal of this thing, our strategy, our goal is to increase shareholder value. So how do we increase shareholder value? Well, we can decrease profits for us or increase revenue. We want to increase profits, right? How do we decrease profits for us? We improve cycle time. Okay. How do we improve cycle time? We design the process. And how does all that get done? Employee skills. They want you to know, follow it up. Employee skills, improve cycle time, improve delivery value, increase customer retention, increase market share, profit. But it all goes down to that nice little purple box at the bottom. 40 times the major initiative has to do. Right? Because, like, improving cycle time, yes. Improving quality, improving anything requires, if you're going to improve quality, you might want to redesign the process, or you might want to put more quality control into the process and all that. But it all boils down to employee skills. And many strategies now boil down to learning and growth where we start, which makes sense, right? Learning and growth into the internal processes, which drive up to customers, which drive up to country, and goes up to our clients or our guests, right? But it generally drives out from what the majority of our expenses are, what the majority of the company is. So everybody has to be committed, which is why having the 4 sections is so important. Because it does include everybody but part of the business. All right? That's the whole point about the money. It's how you push it down into 4 sections down it brings everybody under into the process. So it becomes all on the same. Right? And everybody has some addition that they have to do. Right? And that makes it work better. Because if everybody's working on the same thing together, it tends to work a lot better. All right. Now we're going to move on. Talk about let's talk about because relative cost differential analysis take us try where we can and move us eventually out. Right? So that's where we put that one go. Yeah. Differential analysis is the income and cost analysis. Let's just look at the difference between revenue and cost in order to determine the impact of the differential. We're talking about variable costs and fixed costs in our equation, right? Variable costs. No. Differential analysis is basically removing that which is and we pull it out. So, don't worry, I have lots of differential revenue amount of increase or decrease in the revenue that happens to the cost is the amount of cost. Okay? That will happen. Work out. Differential analysis allows us to know where we are with something like that. Right? The difference between the revenue and the cost. Most of the time we expect something. When we get to the end, we thought I talked about transfer pricing and why at time don't work. Those taxes and speculation at every level. So, assume that it's live, live represents starting with each alternative if you leave it the way it is, we have revenue coming down with consciousness gathering possibility. If the salad bar, we're going to have revenue for 120,000. Cost of 65,000 and a cost of 10,000. So it's like the differential is very important. The difference between revenue is an increase in revenue of 20,000. The difference between costs is an increase in cost
What's that?
of 5,000.
Come on. What's that?
So the differential in profit is 2,000.
Go on. Go party.
And it's important because it allows us to see where the differences are happening. Because this is a simplistic thing I'm saying, right? Is the revenue cost. We can have 20 revenue items and 20 cost items. Bringing them across allows us to see where the revenues increase, decrease, where the costs increase. So we can take a very direct look at each item and how it is affected by the changes. So it's always prepared like this, because we're comparing two things. All right? And that last column is always about what the net change is. But it gives us the change in costs and the change in revenue. Because then we can analyze the costs and revenue separately to see if there's something in there that costs are being compared. Okay? So, so the differential effect is 15,000, 20,000 minus 5,000. So it looks like it's that's the bottom line of this one, right? And the thing is, though, okay, so we have this is our lovely little plan, this is our analysis, but we have to actually look at what happens when it's just that's actually happen. We really get a $15,000 income. The costs really change the way you think about it. The revenue really changes and now I got to talk to them. Well, like I said, we would have it broken out. Come on, boy. And we would have it broken out. Come on. So that we can see. Come on. Get in here. What's change in the cost of leads? What's the change in the revenue from full meals? What's the change in the revenue from salad bar? What's going on within our different areas as we're doing this? So it allows us to put it all together. Right? Another method for comparing things is discontinuation rates. And again, we're talking about comparing what's going on right now, what we might do. Right? So the thing is that, a lot of times divisions or segments or products have negative many things. Right? But eliminating them from the company is not always a punishment. There are a lot of reasons why. I mean, one of the reasons, and aside, we're going to look at financial reasons, and at the end, I'm sure I have a slide, but I'm going to say it up front. There are qualitative reasons why we keep them. They're not they're what we can. We don't sell a lot anymore, but it's like the company, like Quaker Oats, Quaker Oats in a can. May not be what they sell much of anymore, but that's what they are. That's what they always were. So getting rid of it is like destroying them. So that was the battle that went on with Antoine. Changing Antoine's name. But in my opinion, they didn't give Pearl Mills credit. But you created it. She created it. So that was her doing it. And that image lasted for decades. And it was something that you looked at and saw and just knew. That was quality, right? That was quality. So, they've changed it, and it does affect the way people see it. It's kind of, it's very interesting sociologically. It's very interesting market analyst versions, because again, they don't give credit necessarily to the marketing that Pearl Mills did. She did that marketing. She created that image, that icon. And I understand why it's taken, right? And again, it's a huge battle. So, and sometimes these things that go along with those icons are products, and those products may not necessarily more Quaker Oats, anything that's in the promo company is on top of it. Everything that they ever produced. It's like Americans' favorite, and it's their favorite everything. Which is, I guess, why they did and not affecting sales in that. Anyway, so when we discontinue a product, it eliminates all the product variable costs. But it doesn't necessarily eliminate the fixed costs. Right? Fixed costs are fixed with market again. So you have to take a look at it that way too. See whether it actually contributes to the margin in any manner, shape, or form. So, sometimes, even though it has a negative income, it has a positive contribution to the company, financially and qualitatively. So, but Calculated Cereal shows that brand plates incurred an operating loss of $11,000. So let's look at it. Cornflakes goes to those and brand plates. Cornflakes has an income of 40. It's has an income of 40. But brand plates has a loss of $11,000 for the total company. That's anyway. So this is where we are. This is what's going on right now. It has nothing. 100,000 in revenues, 85,000 in variable costs, 26,000 in costs. So the total cost is 100,000. It gives us profit for us. If we discontinue, we will have no income, right? So it's going to reduce income by 100,000. You plus no variable costs, so it will reduce variable costs by 55,000. The fixed costs, they're steady. There's no effect on a fixed cost. Unless we have some information that we can sell the factory things or sell machinery equipment, or that we have an opportunity cost for it, or someone told us that there's no use for it, the fixed costs, there's no effect, right? They're there, we start to cover it. So the total costs is reduced by 85,000, which means that if we remove GrandFlex, we'll have a $15,000 loss. Well, right now we have an $11,000. I want you to look at the fixed costs, because this is one way of knowing pretty quickly whether getting rid of a product is going to give me a bigger loss or going to give me a smaller loss. Right? If we look at the fixed costs and we look at the profit and loss, if the loss is less than the fixed costs, then somehow this is contributed some contribution on it. Okay? And removing that product or that line is going to cause increased losses. That's a simple way of looking at it. You can see the fixed cost is 26,000, our loss is only 11,000. So somewhere down the line, right? Somewhere down the line, we have coverage. Right? There's 15,000. Yeah, there's 15,000 coverage. 15,000 comes on that loss. Should be removed. Got it. And that's the thing. This is 15,000, then that loss is going to be the difference between the fixed costs and the profit or loss. So it's not a contribution market contribution to cover fixed costs. It did contribute, right? It did have a positive contribution on this. So, in the end, the effect, the financial effect, right? It would give us a bigger loss. It may also have long-term effects. There are qualitative effects. The effects on the company, the effects on employees, because we want to fire employees, right? This one affects other employees. There's a lot of things involved. But financially, the first thing to look at is, does it have any coverage? Is there any contribution to cover fixed costs? And if it does, we have to be very careful, because just removing is going to increase our loss. So in a case like that, we have to find a way either to increase its sales, decrease its costs, or find another use for the fixed assets in order to increase it. So, product A has revenue of 65,000. Variable cost of goods sold is 50,000. Variable selling expenses is 12,000. And fixed costs is 25,000. Creating an operating loss of 22,000. All right? So let's look at a differential. Right now, this is our revenue, right? We have our operating loss of 22,000. Fixed cost is 25,000. You can see it right there. The loss is less than fixed cost. So some part, there is 3,000 of coverage in the company. 3,000 of contribution margin in the company. Okay? If we discontinue, our revenue is from that product is going to go away. It's going to reduce our revenue. Our variable costs will go away. It's going to reduce our costs. Our fixed costs will not be they're just going to stay, right? The fixed costs. So in the end, If we remove it, there's $3,000 additional loss. That $3,000 loss is the difference. Okay? It's that right now, a portion of these sales is got a contribution margin that's covering a portion of the costs. Right? If we remove it, we're going to increase our loss by 50%. We're going to have to cut the whole 25,000 costs. Okay, makes sense? Next decision. Make or buy. Another comparative financial decision. Should we make it ourselves? Yeah. So, lots of companies manufacture the pieces that go into it. Just buy them. You know, we're all about the automobile industry. In fact, like there's no real automobile that's made in the U.S. I don't think there's a real automobile that's made in any country. You know, I don't even think of Germany everything that goes into a Mercedes. It doesn't go. There's so many small parts that they come from everywhere else. Okay? So we have to decide often whether it's worthwhile for us to make a part. Right? That's a huge decision that people are making right now. Is it worthwhile? So assume that an automobile manufacturer has purchasing infinite panels for 240,000. The factory is currently operating at 80% of capacity. No major increase in production expected in the future. So we have big issues, right? So again, capacity is the limitation. That's the rate we have to do. The cost per unit of manufacturing internally is $280 per unit. It's $80 per material, $80 per $52 of variable overhead, $68 of fixed overhead. Fixed overhead already exists. We know that. It's part of that capacity. If the make price of $280 is strictly compared to the buy price of $240, it's a no-brainer. We buy. No-brainer at all. But we can use that 20% of our lease capacity, then only the variable costs become part of it. So when we look at the alternative, we have to say that the fixed cost, right, it's not necessarily important. Look, when we buy panels, it costs us $240, right? If we make the panels, we've got no purchase price. If we make the panels, we're going to have direct labor, direct materials, variable overhead, and fixed overhead. $280 price. If we buy the panels, we're going to have the $240 price. We're not going to have materials, labor, or variable overhead, but we will still have that $68 of factory overhead that represents that 20% of our lease capacity, right? There it is. So the actual price is $380. So if you look at the differential effect, we would save $28 if we made it ourselves, because we would utilize fixed assets that we already have and eating up some capacity, spreading out those costs over more items. The cost per unit comes flat, right? The cost being spread out over more items. This is one of the important aspects of a make-or-buy capacity, the ability to do it. Because capacity, unused, is just a sunk cost. So, again, financial decisions such as this should never be made just on financial metrics, right? If the supplier purchases other people's dies, if the supplier is important. I mean, if you're producing Dodge Rams, the heavy transmission is like super important. Right? They buy them at the heavy. Right? So, you're not going to replace it with your own. It would affect your sales. So those are kind of things have to be taken into consideration. Whether or not the supplier itself would be affected and use them for other things. You know, there's politics and everything. Right? So you would have to take in all of that qualitative reason as well. So a company manufactures a subcomponent of the assembly for $80, including fixed costs of $25. Proposals offer to purchase the subcomponent from the outside source at $60 a unit plus $5 per unit of freight. So now we're going to create a differential analysis. So, okay. The first alternative is to make it. The second alternative is to buy it. So we're going to consider it. If we make the subcomponent, we have variable cost of $55, overhead of $25, for a total unit cost of $80. Okay. If we buy it, we have a purchase price of $60, freight of $5, and that fixed factory overhead is still there. So it's actually a $90 cost. So it's $10 less if we make it ourselves, because we utilize our factory. Dispersing it over more items. Another decision to replace. All right, so should we buy it now? Should we wait? What are we going to do? So, assume that on November 28th of the current year, companies consider replacing an old machine. The old machine has book value of $100,000. Its variable manufacturing cost per year of $225,000. It has a selling price of $25,000 and it has a useful life of 5 years. If we purchase a new machine, it's going to cost us $250,000. It has annual variable manufacturing cost of $150,000. It has no residual value, and its useful life is 5 years. So, when we talk about this MPV, how they have to have the same year so that we can deal with them. So this has the same time frame, so we can deal with it. So if we continue with the machine we have, right, the variable manufacturing cost for the 5-year period is roughly $1,121,000. So that's our total cost. And like I said, there's no income on this, so it's not necessarily always comparison of net income. It can be comparison of revenue. It can be comparison of cost. Right? That's the whole use of the differential. So we can compare anything if we need to, as long as it's the same on the two alternatives that we can make. If we replace the machine, we're going to sell the old machine for $25,000. Right? We're going to purchase a new machine for $250,000. Our manufacturing costs are going to be $750,000 for 5 years. So our total costs are going to be $1 million. So we're going to have a $975,000 net cost. Not bad. That's the other one. Why? Why? Well, we get a cash infusion of $25 from the sale. We get a cash out of $250 for the purchase price. Then we have our manufacturing costs of $375. That's the difference between the two. It's plus fees, right? So our total costs are $125,000. That's the change in cost. So our profit or loss is going to go up by $150,000. Not bad. It's a good choice, right? And it's important to look at it through all those things. That's why I said if there's an option for the fixed asset, put that option in, which is the sale or the opportunity cost of something else, whatever the option. If we have some sort of replacement for the fixed cost, for the fixed factory cost, we put that into the decision as well. Because this one has that in there. Get rid of it. Right? So the net difference is good to us. So it looks like replacing the machine makes more sense. And again, like I said, opportunity cost is really important. Whatever it is that we're talking about when we talk about these fixed overhead costs, if there's something else that we can do with them, then we need to include that in our decisions. All right, so another one. A machine with book value of $32,000 has an estimated life of 40 years. A proposal is offered to sell the old machine for 10 and replace it with a new machine that costs $45,000. The new machine has a 4-year life, no residual value. The machine can reduce annual direct labor costs from $33,000 to $22,000. Fairly differential. So if we continue with our old machine, we're not going to sell it. We're not going to purchase anything. Direct labor cost is $132,000, which is the $33,000. So our total cost is going to be $132,000 if we step the rest on. So if we replace the machine, we're going to sell it for $10,000. Okay, so get that money. We're going to put out $45,000 to buy it. Our labor costs are only going to be $88,000, right? Because they're going to reduce. So our total costs are $133,000. Net up against the proceeds, we get $122,000. So it's like a $9,000 plus in replacing the whole machine. Okay, we bring it all at once. Funny thing, and important thing to look at when you're looking at this one, the big thing that comps out at you is the fact that it's the proceeds from the sale of the machine that's making us money. Okay? If we didn't sell the machine, we kind of would be almost the same. $1,000 difference. Right? That's where you have to say to yourself, okay, if this $10,000 is a really solid deal, like let's say it's a trade of $5,000, then yeah, it's a no-brainer because you're going to get $9,000 more, which is basically the same. But you do have to look at, I would say you have to look at the tax computation, whether it's blah, 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 zero or not, but gain or loss, what's going to be taxes. But I think it's interesting that you should look at this, that the proceeds are actually coming from the sale, and not coming from the efficiency of it. All right. Another decision, process or sell. Another decision we make. At manufacturing anything, we come to a point where we created an asset, we created an inventory item, right? It's there, it exists. Now we have the choice of selling it or moving it along and processing further. The question becomes, is it worthwhile to process it further? Will we make more money or sell it again? Right? And so if that goes differential points, when we have to do this analysis of, is it better off to just sell it now? Or will we make more money if we put more money into it? Always gain. So a similar business produces kerosene as an intermediate product. So our kerosene, we produce 4,000 gallons in a batch. The cost of producing the kerosene is $2,400 per batch. And the selling price of kerosene is $2.50. If we process the kerosene further, we get gasoline. Okay? So we input those 4,000 to produce gasoline. We have evaporation of 20%. Okay? So our output is 3,200 gallons of gasoline. The cost of producing the gasoline is $3,000 per batch, and the selling price is $3.50. Okay? So that's all our information on this. So now we've got to compare it. So what do we compare? We set it up as a differential. Compare the two. If we sell it at kerosene, our revenues per batch are 4,000 gallons at $2.50 per gallon is $10,000. Our cost per batch is $2,400. So our profit per batch is $7,600. If we process it further, our revenue per batch is the lesser, the 3,200 gallons, times $3.50, which is $11,000. The cost per batch is $3,050. So the profit or loss per batch is $8,150. So there's a $550 differential increase for us if we make gasoline. So it's worthwhile. The revenues go up, so the expenses. But the profit goes out also. So it makes sense. Process further. So another one, product T is produced for $2.50 per gallon. It can be sold without additional processing for $3.50 a gallon. Or processed further, product B at an additional cost of 70 cents a gallon. Product B can be sold for $4 a gallon compared to the price. So we have product B at this point in time. The revenue is $3.50 a gallon, the cost is $2 a gallon, so we make $1 per gallon. Right? That's what happens. If we process it further, the revenues per gallon are $4. The cost per unit is the original cost plus another 70 cents, so $3.20 per gallon. So our profit or loss per unit is 80 cents if we process it further. So it makes no sense to process it further, because if we process it further, we're going to get 20 cents less per gallon. Right? Our revenues go up by 50 cents, but our costs go up by 70. And so it makes no sense to produce the secondary product. We should sell it on as product to make more money. Oh, another decision. Sometimes customers or customers or others will offer us a deal to produce for them at a special price, large batch special price, okay? And so we have to be able to decide whether it's worth our while to do that, okay? So we have to look at the differential revenues and differential costs in order to figure out whether it's worthwhile. Remember that when we talk about expecting a special price, the fixed costs associated with capacity are irrelevant to the decision, right? They're not part of the decision. And that's one of the most important things that we talk about. We're going to talk about in a second. This is the concept of irrelevance. Things we cannot change. As long as we stay within our relevant range, when we're talking about this, we're talking about capacity, all right? As long as our fixed costs are not going to change, they become irrelevant to the decision. Okay? So assume that people manufacture customers. Then monthly productive capacity is 12,500. The current monthly sales is 10,000. The normal selling price is $30. The variable cost is $12.50. The fixed cost is $7.50. So the total price is $29. That's the cost. On March 10th, we received an offer from an exporter for 5,000 vegetables at $18 each. Production is spread over 3 months, so it does not interfere in our normal current monthly. So, we're not going to go above our maximum capacity. All right. Also, pricing policies in the domestic market will not be affected. A huge issue because you want to make sure that it doesn't affect your current customers or the current markets that you're doing. That's selling our rents. And it looks like, it's $18 and the normal cost is $20, so it's a big question for us. We want to do it. The only way to look at it is to see what would happen. Okay? So if we do nothing happens. All right? None of our profits are going to change. None of our costs are going to change. Nothing's going to change. If we accept it, what will change? Our revenues will increase by $90,000, right? Because they want to sell it to us. They want us to sell it to them. Our variable cost can go to $62,500. It's $12.50. So our income will go up by $27,500 because the fixed costs are irrelevant. We're going to use it to cover fixed costs, which will actually make the fixed costs per basketball less. If you think about it, right? Because right now it's spread out over 10,000 basketballs, and we'll be spreading it out over 12,500. So it will cover, and that's where the 27,500. Okay? So it's just the variable costing that is relevant. So it makes sense as long as big positive As long as it doesn't affect our current customer base. No one knows. It's not sold in their area. It's not to undercut one of our customers. Okay? That's really important. You want to damage your permanent. So product D is normally sold for $4.40. A special price of $3.60 is offered for the export one. The variable production cost is $3. An additional export tariff of 10% of the revenue must be paid for all export products. Assume that there is sufficient capacity for the special order. Prepare a differential. This export tariffs don't really exist. They're tariffs are generally on imports. Alright. Export tariffs are rare, few, and far between, and it's something that convenes in the country that the country does not want to sell it to something outside the country. So it's usually on things that are moral or things that are extremely wants to. They very rarely exist. It's one reason I think it's about. And I explained that to you mostly because we live in a world where tariffs are not a big topic. Tariffs are most 99%. But we have an export tariff, and it's just to give the examples the way they okay? So we'll reject the order on the address, right? 15 steps to do it. We're going to get $3.60. It's going to cost us $3 to produce this, plus a tariff of 36 cents. So it's going to cost us $3.36. So we will get 24 cents per business in country. So it actually pays off because we're going to get more money. This set of slides that I have has markup, like how to calculate markup in like every situation possible. It's not and I'm going to do it once, and I'm going to go through the rest. You can see them if you want to, but I don't want to spend those minutes on all of it on something that will affect you. Okay, but if you want to talk about markup, cost plus benefit, because you can tell for one cost, right? Cost plus benefit is a normal cost plus the extra cost in extra cost. So we have to decide how to fund the market. And that's the big thing here. What is the way for finding market? Alright? So how does the product cost? The way the product is manufactured is cost. The cost of cooking and the product. Right? It's like expensive to add to the dry product. It doesn't markup side. Alright? So it's like a balancing equation. So that high fluid of 5 always wants to say, selling price, yeah. That's your question about it. Well, I put it one side, on the side, so you look at this one. Cost and cost. Okay? If I move these costs down here, the down the page, alright? This is just so in a product cost, it's only the product cost. And then in the market, you have we have our product cost. And then we are total cost. Once we have some cost, we think we have to figure out our markup. We take our profit. I take those numbers, divide profit, divide and the markup, so you can see the markup. Then we determine our limits on the product. And it looks like we have 100,000
Gotta get the Facebook.
are like we cannot be in for but photo manufacturing the normal selling price is $18 and the determine the product cost.
Wow, babe.
What probably
What the fuck?
target cost is setting prices that combines market-based with cost reduction. Okay? Target cost is the accepted selling price minus desired cost. It's not it's not about what you can charge, it's about what you can charge. We talked about this before, but it's all about what can I charge? And it's large market. Come on, Aaron. Come on. Everything is not sports. You got that. I'm not sports. You go back and back. Yeah. I used to have Irish woman. Board, Russian bullpen. That means he was hot. Really. Oh my god. I have four doors. I have a download. I have Greyhound. And I have my fourth before. I have a solution that's made from talk. I used to go spray in the car and I got so I have all hunting dogs. It's not terrible. I love hunting dogs. I always think they're smart. I love leather yaks. So they're so obviously I have a cats. The cat, no, I'm just most of it's don't cats. But we're going to have a coach. We're going to be on real coach. Yeah. There's a silly video on Facebook. The donkey is not I always see that as my ultimate hunter.
They've never come this close to both before.
Okay. Target costing. That's really good. At least now. Sit right in front of my guys. Target costing is about reducing costs. Target costing is about getting to where the market is. Okay. Most of the time when we talk about target costing, it's about as the market matures and there are more competitors. Like lose your patent over time, right? And now you have competitors. And no one can charge the price you would charge. Okay? You need to drop it down to what the market price is.
I can see more trash.
And so we know the market price. We figure out what our profit is. And in there comes what it should cost us, what we can spend. It's almost always a downward trend. Okay? We're almost always going from the current market to the market. Right? Just it's what happens in highly competitive markets. Okay? And you've seen it. You've seen it in cell phones. You see it in personal computers. As more manufacturers produce quality products, you know, I mean, I've never owned one, but an iPhone are incredibly expensive. I've never owned one. I was a BlackBerry magazine with the government. But see the market that's out there, the phone, you know, well, unless it's kind of
Bitch die.
competitive, you need to have some quality, decide on quality of these brands. So, you know, iPhones are basically on name brand, right? Samsung still stays on Android too. But there's so many other that you buy that are much less expensive than people still things. So, it's all about that highly competitive market. Okay? And so once we know what the price is, what we can sell it for, we then figure out what we have to build it for. And the other. If you can't do it, now you have to find another methodology, like I said, or quality or niche, what it is. Which is what I think Apple is. It's kind of a niche. It's like a fashion accessory, something like purchasing a Gucci bag, purchasing shoes. I have some Italian stuff there. I have AIDS from we don't
What are you doing, Dylan?
I've read this. But we don't
By the way, that sound didn't sound like cleaning.
Another one is bottleneck. Bottleneck all the time. Bottleneck is a constraint. It's a moment at which you get stuck. Okay? Then the bottleneck becomes more important than anything else in the world. Alright? So we have to deal with it. As a constraint. This is the point of this constraint. And so this point, at this point we have to decide how to get through this point making the most money. Alright? Again, we have to have financial focus. So if you have a bottleneck, the contribution of each product needs to be changed and looked at differently. We have to look at the contribution for bottleneck to see which product is more profitable once it goes through bottleneck and uses the least amount of resource that gives us the best contribution margin for the bottleneck. Okay? So a good way,
We do what we please, boy.
a good example is make wrenches, small wrenches, medium wrenches, large wrenches. Okay? The selling price is 130, 140, 160. The variable cost is the same, $40 a month. Alright? So the contribution margin
Can you
are
read
higher.
it from
The
here?
thing is that each one requires different hours
I wish I could closer.
and heat treatment is our bottle. Only has so many hours of heat treatment in the process. Okay? And we're maximized. We're out max, okay? We're at production capacity. And so we have to figure out what to put through the bottlenecks through the heating process that's going to give us the best value. Right? Now the unit contribution margin, obviously the large one is higher. But it also takes 8 hours to produce. So what we have to do is figure out how much of that contribution margin we earn per hour of the expense. Alright, so we take our unit contribution margin, and we divide it by the number of hours, and we get a per bottom. Alright? So this one you can see that's going through the process of how much we're making out of power as we go. So if you look at it this way, you find that small numbers have a only taken out. So the $9 doesn't knock out the hour. So what the difference small bottom nuts every hour gets $9. The medium run just takes 4 hours. So if we run that through the process, we only get $25 per hour as it goes through the hour. Like if we have 4 hours. The long graphic just takes 8 hours. And so we only get $15 per hour as it goes through the hour. So what this tells us, right, is that $90 an hour is what we want, right? And that's what we want. So we want to max out of the production of small functions. How much can we sell? That's how much we make. Then we move on to keeping revenue, then we move on to margin. That's how we decide our production. Do we want to max out our contribution margin? And when we're at capacity in any particular area, or we have a bottleneck, a stopping point in any particular area, we need to find the maximum contribution margin for that item that we're dealing with, for that constraint, that department, whatever it is that is holding themselves up. All right? And that's how we do it. It works a lot, too, in packaging departments. You know, is how long does it take to package these things? And it can be a significant difference depending on the item. How many items can we get out? How many items can we get out? So what contribution margin are we making through the packaging departments? You know, doesn't mean that we don't make the other ones. It's just that we maximize our highest contribution margin first. Get it out the door, and then work on the next ones. So product A has contribution margin $15. Product B has contribution margin $20, and product A requires 3 furnace hours, but product B requires 5.
Not think of it as an animal.
So if we look at it, the
It is simply a
contribution
target.
per
Clear
bottleneck
your mind.
power, right? For product A is $5, product B is 4.
My God.
Good.
So product A is giving us more profit per bottleneck hour. Coming out at the other end and giving us more profit. Now, this only matters, really and honestly, when we have a bottleneck and we put a capacity on it. All right? That's the only time that this becomes really important. It's because we're trying to maximize through what we have available.
No.
Getting through the process
Finish
that
what
we
you
have
started.
available. And it generally deals with lack of capacity in some section of the process. Okay. We are now going to take our very first look
I can't.
at ABC costing. Okay. Now, next week we're going to look at ABC costing full on. All right. Next week our class is going to be ABC costing. And these slides are going to become really important to you next week as well. That's what we do next week. But in order to get through everything to get through, we kind of have to move on a roll. Plus, we're moving from differential to activity immediately so that you can see their reference points. Okay. These slides, like I said, they'll be put up, and then next week I will refer to that for you so that you have them. Because these have examples that will help you in your homework next week. Right? This week is bound scorecard. Next week, this will help in addition to the slides. I just don't want to have 3 hours. We don't want to have a 3 hour slide check. So this allows me to break it out. ABC cost, fundamental, is about allocating costs based upon action. Right? And it's like stuff, engineering. It's got collective cost stuff. Unallocated costs. Those are allocated, we know that that's the cost that we assign right? But a lot of trucks are not on them. But if we can collect them all up into activities, assembly, inspection, engineering, right? An activity that happens in the process, that's part of our overhead, then we can take the money out for the products based upon their use of that activity. And it can be a substantial change in the cost of an item versus just taking all of them, dividing it by a single driver with labor hours. So, it assigns estimated overhead costs to both estimated overhead costs, which is basically what we do with overhead. In fact, can't actually calculate overhead in the swing taxes, we do budgets, and we can declare an estimated overhead based upon the cost to be spent, based upon the number of costs that we use, based upon and any other variables that we might know about that are going to happen in the cost. And it gives us a cost to apply. And then at the end, you actually compare the applied the actual at the difference between those costs. So, or we just overall right? It should never be a zero amount. Zero amount is probably ridiculous, right? So obviously we manage it on a interval basis, whatever. But any differences between what we expected to happen and what happened, those are problems. Those are, anything that's more than zero, more than something that's real material in the accounting audit concept is not the industry. So when I told my that, we'll set it. We often set it at 20%, something like that, 5%, which is very common. We say 5% is material, is anything above 5% is material, and we want to know why it happened. All right. So it's the same thing with applications of overhead. We apply it monthly in an accounting.
You still gotta do fucking math.
Yeah, by cost. So that we can inventory these things, right? And then at the end of the period, we reconcile the actual bills by overhead. We figure out the difference. That's an accounting. Most accounting concept of that. Not something we're going to do, I promise. Because that's like the advanced concept of accounting. When we talk about budget, overhead, and all that. But it constitutes very much really common. It's our ability to provide the fact concepts better than the fact concepts set up. And so we have Louise company. We struggle with things like it's total estimated factory overhead 1.6 okay? And design each the following activities to produce the product. We have fabrication, which consists of cutting metals and shaping metals. We have assembly, which consists of manually assembling pieces into the line. Okay? We have setup, which consists of changing our existing routine and reducing the product. They change the size, cutting, they change the computer program, the way it's done to cut the rest of the wood or the metal. Each product run requires a setup. So every time we change, if you don't know about manufacturing, every time they change the item, it goes through the same space. Every time they change the size of the blade, they have to set it up. And so, it's all different. Quality control inspection is inspecting the product performance to spec. Right? Inspection requires tear down and assembly. And engineering changes, which is just processing changes in design or spec. The document indication change of change work. Alright? So, these are the costs in our overhead. This is how we assign the 535 and the 170. 480,000 for setup, 312,000 for quality control, and 280,000 engineering fees. So that's our 1.6 million of overhead, and this is where the overhead was. And like I said, these could be rents, they could be the values we for. It's anything that you can't directly assign to the products, but we can assign it to a division, an activity, right? Things like that, and that's how we do it. We attach it to an activity, which then can attach to the product. Right? And now we can say, well, how do we attach that? We can attach for space if it doesn't attach it to the product. Alright? The actual rates are how we kind of apply, alright? And get a rate. Right? That's base physical thing that we're using to drive. So if the activity base for setup is the number of setup. Okay, alright. So how many setups you're gonna have, only take the cost of that setup. Alright? So if you look at it this way, it's like 480,000 times the setup, right? We expect to have 120 setups all told. So it's going to be $4,000 the first time for the setup. Doesn't matter who takes the setup, whoever takes the setup for the product, you're going to assign 4,000 setup to each. So here we are on activities, right? So fabrication. For the snowmobile, it takes 8,000 hours. The ride home is 8,000 hours. 5,000 hours that we're going to assign to fabrication. We have another 10,000 hours of expenses that we're going to assign to assembly cost. We expected 127. We're going to, there's 100 for snowmobile ramp, 20 for riding mowers, so there's 120 setups that we're going to apply it over. We expect 104 inspections, and we expect 60 change orders. So it looks like this. Here's our activity, here's our base. Total hours, stuff we're going to have. And so this is how the activity. So we have 530 hours, $530,000 approving for fabrication. Right? We fabrication in total for product is 10,000 direct labor hours. So we're going to charge $50 per labor hour for fabrication. That's huge. Assembly, we're going to charge $7 per labor hour. That's huge. Setup, we're going to charge $4,000 per setup. Quality control, we take 104 inspections, total cost of $312,000. So we're going to charge $2,000. And engineering changes, inspections, changes, we're going to charge $13,000 per day. And that's how we're going to apply a supplement. And that's $2,000 So here we go. We take our kids' days, get our spot. It's better to see it in numbers. Alright, I know that. But it's going to tell you this. Better to see it in numbers. So here we go. For the snowmobile, it uses 8,000 direct labor hours to sell it at $60 an hour. So it has 424,000 fabricated. The riding mower has 2,000 direct labor hours fabricated at $60 an hour. So it has 106,000 fabricated. Second, 2,000 hours for summary at $7 for snowmobile at $14,000. Riding mower takes 8,000 hours of assembly at $7 an hour. The setup, right? The snowmobile has 100 setups, that's 400,000. The riding mower only has 20 setups. Quality control inspections. There are 100 inspections on snowmobiles. 3,000 inspection, 300,000. We only have 4 inspections on the riding mowers, so it's only $1,200. Engineering change orders. We have 12 change orders on a snowmobile. It's $13,000 per change order. We have 4 change orders for the riding mower.
I found the gear.
So when you look at the overhead, up to 1.6 million that we have,
We are going home.
94,000 is actually on the snowmobiles, while only 206,000 is on the riding
I
mower.
can do this.
All right. So the cost per unit of overhead for snowmobiles is 1,294, while the cost per unit for riding mowers is only 306. And this is why we do it. Because if we had just divided it by labor hours, we would have applied it the same for time.
Do not speak again.
So the whole point is that we have a lot more cost going into the snowmobile than we have going into the riding, right? Which allows us to look at the price and the marketing of these things, right? Because if we charge the same for each one, based upon the number we produced or something, then we would be undercharging for the snowmobile and overcharging for the lawnmower. It really affects accuracy of the price. And it leads to what we call distorted product. We start to think that we can't lower the price, that we can't, that what we're doing is selling below the cost. And we think that our competition is selling below cost. But they're not. We haven't calculated the cost. Right? So if we had taken the estimated overhead, dividing it by the direct labor hours, we would charge $80 for direct labor hours, right? So each one had 10,000 hours of direct labor hours. Now, there was different areas, but each one would have charged $800,000. $800,000 for overhead, divided by 1,000. Right? So they would have the same cost per unit. Right? In order to have the same cost per unit from these other funds. So if we had used a single rate method, just taking the overhead and dividing it by the number of labor hours, right? And the reality is that this is how the revenue. It's not the way to think about it. This is the way it eats the cost. These are using our overhead. Everything is an overhead. But we're trying to find how it uses overhead. And by taking the overhead and splitting it out into activities that we present and assign to the production, we find out that the snowmobile is a lot more overhead than the riding. It uses more. It's more intensive, all right? And it's intensive by a lot more, right? So it has a single regular thought the cost of the unit. Well, really and honestly, it's not. It's not more significantly more expensive. And you can see where that would lead us to losing money if we put the snowmobile on sale.
And I told you
That would also lead us to losing sales if we couldn't lower the price for riding mower. Alright? First example. Second example, we're going to look at skis. Alright? And
But why would a fire drill burn Mother's garden?
snowboard.
Since winter drop is so close to the house.
Yeah.
And what was
The
that
company had a
thing
total
that
estimated factory overhead for the year of
be
$600,000.
silent.
We divided it into 4 tabs with fabrication
Inside,
$300,000.
boy.
Assembly of $100,000, $120,000. Setups of $10,000 of $100,000 and materials handling of $80,000. So they produced 2 products, snowboards and skis. And their activity-based usage for each product. So we have fabrication, which is a total of 20,000 direct labor hours. 5,000 goes into snowboards, 15,000 goes into skis. We have assembly, which is a total of 20,000 direct labor hours. 15,000 goes into snowboards, 5,000 goes into skis. We have setups, a total of 250 setups. 30 setups go to snowboards. 220 go to skis, which makes logical sense if you ski, because skis come from all sizes and shapes. Snowboards really don't. Materials handling, we have moves. We have 50 moves of materials for snowboards, 350 moves for skis. Each product is budgeted for 5,000 units of production for the year. All right, so let's work it out. Here we go. All right, so fabrication, we had 300,000. We had a total of 20,000 direct labor hours, which gave us $15 per hour back. Assembly, we have, again, 20,000 direct labor hours total at 120,000, so it's $6 per labor hour. We expect a total of 250 setups. The cost is 100,000, 400 per setup. Materials handling, we have
That thing was trying to kill us.
$80,000 cost.
Anger can be a weapon.
So,
If you control it,
fabrication.
use it.
Snowboard
You clearly
use
cannot.
5,000 direct labor hours, $15 per hour, for a total of 75,000. Skis take $15,000, 15,000 hours of fabrication and $15 an hour for 221,000.
He wanted me to hit.
Assembly.
I want you to
We have
try.
15,000 direct labor hours. Snowboards at $6,
Ow!
90,000.
What do
We
you
have 5,000 of direct labor hours.
Why are you doing
$6, 30,000.
Try again.
Setup. 30 setups, snowboard,
Again.
400 per setup, is 12,000.
Again.
Stop it!
220 setups, skis at 400 per setup, is 8,000. Materials handling, we expect 50 movements of materials for the snowboard, at 200 to move, which is 10,000. We expect 350 movements of materials for the skis, at 200 to move, which is 7,000. So the total
Are clearly
of the 600,000 of overhead, 187,500 went to snowboard, 413,000 went to skis. All right, they each 5,000, so $37.40 for snowboard and $82.90 for skis. I'm going to take
What's going on?
okay.
Do you know him?
So you can see that the overhead was used quite differently by the two companies.
Now.
But you told me never to go down there.
Right? And
What is
that
that?
I do not know.
What's he talking
is the
about?
fundamentals of activity-based conflict. We went through this already, and like I said, we can move all the costs down. And if you move all the costs down, it's numbers. If you move all the costs down, what happens is that our total cost is $1,670 for total cost, right?
Just definitely the
And so we still have our desired rate of
Long from
160.
home, aren't you?
So our desired profit,
Do you want?
total cost,
Oh, you
is
already know
9.6%
the
markup.
answer to that.
All right. So if total cost per unit is the base, now the markup is $1.60, but normal selling price is still $18. It's all a matter of what we put up here and what we put down here. But moving it around doesn't change the end result of the normal selling price. So, the cost concept, whether it's product cost, total cost, it doesn't make a difference in the end. They come up with the same selling price. It's just a balancing. We can do it in variable cost. We can take the markup is the total fixed cost plus desired profit, and all the variable costs are below. And again,
Leave.
the numbers change, right?
My
But in the end,
home.
we wind up with the same price. Because now we have total variable costs by the units, which is $60 per unit, right? So now up on the top we have desired profit plus expenses, and below we have total variable costs, all right? So we get a markup of 14.4. 14.4 times the 16, which is the cost above, this is $2.30 a unit. Again, $2.30 selling price. Bottom line is, this is about what you put on top and what you put on bottom. In the end, no matter what you do, if all the numbers are the same, you're always going to come out with selling price. That no matter what methodology you use for markup, you're going to come up with the same price. That's the whole point of it. And it's important to know it. No, that doesn't matter whether I use the base cost as variable cost, the base cost as full cost, the base cost as total cost. Whatever it is, the other option is the other top of the market. So either way, we'll see what's going to come out. In the end, the cost is identical. The expected profit is identical. So no matter how we play with the ratio, the normal selling price becomes what's going on. Because this is what it costs, this is what the desired profit, this is what we have to have control of the thing. That is important. That makes sense. If it's an important concept, and obviously I'm going to put these in the I'm going to post these out for you. And natural. So let's go back to, again, your homework. So your homework is CKM. Okay? So you're going to talk about what their current strategy is. Read all this. What their competitor strategy is. This is what they want to do. Right? They want to increase quality, decrease cost. They want to do all this. Okay? So you're going to develop a new strategy. Alright? That goal. Then you're going to take the goal and turn them into initiatives for perspective. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do.
Why are there two beds?
Right? And you're going to have the initiative. You're going to have the criteria, the measurement, and you're going to have some sort of basic criteria for what one happen. So if we're trying to stay out, what am I going to say? One, that kind of stuff. You want to look at it. Alright, so we have an overall goal, an overall strategy that I want to create. And you're going to translate it directly for units. And you're going to translate that into this is the initiative, this is how we're going to measure it, this is what we expect for our answer, and so that we can have, some kind of analysis of the measurement. Makes sense? It's not.
Let's try again.
I'm not saying it's
You talk too much.
all right, very I don't know this yet. I like why? Because when you're dealing with this kind of stuff, when you're dealing with financial models, the details matter. Okay? Because the people that are going to say, okay, so you want sales to increase? Oh, you expect that. What the typically say? So what are you going to do? Are you going to, do a marketing plan? Are you going to try a new market? Are you going to advertise? So, and how are we going to measure that? And how are we going, and what those are the kind of things that really happen. Okay? That's what I want to start. And again, like I said, you don't have to really feel that. You really don't. You got to give me measurements. You can't start with them. But you don't got to do more than talk about how much you can go. You're looking for what you want to do. I'm looking for how you can measure that future. And I'm looking for expectations. Okay? That's what I'm looking for. And I'm looking for them, you could have more than one initiative for each area. You could have more than one. Alright? It's multiple goals. You can do a multiple goal. And then you can have them broken down into 4 areas. However you want to do. You got a lot of things. Alright? What I want to see is thought, linkage, the actual goals, actual initiatives, and about how to do something, what am I going to do? How am I going to measure that? Right? How is that going to get me transformed? How does that link back to that goal? It's useless if it doesn't take me where I want to go. Alright? Okay, guys. I will, again, post you before the document. As I usually do. I don't have any formulas, so I do a formula first. I will do a formula for what we talked about. Care not to do anything. Alright? Alright, everyone, any questions before we go? Silence. It's just go, oh, yes, wonderful, I don't have to do that. That's okay. I know the joy. It's like the reprieve in the middle, right? It's totally like you get this great joy and reprieve in the middle of all this. I know, it's wonderful. So it's like, oh, thank you, man. So I do like the fact that you get a kind of reprieve in the middle of the time. So that's what it is. Okay. Oh my God, Dane. I'll tell you something, Matthew. Like I said, I used to have two Irish Wolfhounds, male and female, and they were people. You know, they were literally people. They were so huge, and people used to go on my guards and freak out because they were just enormous. And I had a female that was with me through the big times. They flew on the airplanes with me with the horses, right? So when I my horses would go on the airplane, they're in they're in stalls on the airplane, and the dogs would be in crates or in the stalls next to them because they were so big. You know, it was just hysterical. But she used to travel with me everywhere. She was my companion every horse show, everything I ride. She would be in the arena. She'd want herself a spot,
Eh,
and lay down. She's got her on my computer. She loved the snow. She was just like, yeah, I was just dig a hole in the snow and say, man, I'm not gonna finish. I'm standing out here. You're like standing there. The thing about Irish 6 to 8. That's still difficult. They can't
I just needed answers, but you
still go.
throw whatever you have.
I know. It's painful. It's just so painful. We had one that I bought horses for one thing. Because I bought it on show dog. And he only lived any of that is well, his wolf that's close out. And it was just, but he was a straight dog. Never down. He was such a good dog. He was
Ours the best boy. We love him. He's a good boy.
They are big dogs and stuff. I had Doberman and Rottweilers growing up. This now I have I have the Irish horse right here. Who's
Didn't have to be
he's
this
diabetic.
way.
He's a Russian. He's from Siberia. With Rome. It's Russian. I used to model the home. And she's Russian. And she saved the whole group of people. They tried to force them it's white and he collected them all. He said, hey, you have to take them. I had just lost my full time.
Let's finish.
He is. He's pretty funny. He's very fortunate. We're over here. And it's fine. It's just like he gets all excited. Disabled. Alright guys, have a great one. I just need to start. I don't know how you're right. Take the old day. Okay, we can't wait for
Come on. Are you fucking kidding me?
You can't beat
Are you
me!
fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
I feel nothing!
Jesus Christ.
You can't beat me!
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
I feel nothing! I will end you! Can't beat me! I'd hope that you, of everyone I faced, would finally make me feel something which you can't.
Let's go, Dylan.
Who was he? He knew me. Did he know my past? How did they find me after all this time? Faye, what do I do? Our son is not ready to carry your ashes to the top of the mountain. And neither am I. I do not know how to do this without you. But we cannot stay here. Boy,
There was so much. I thought. You're alright.
I am all right. Come. Gather your things. We are leaving. You are not. We have no choice now. Prove me wrong.
Yes, sir. Mountain. It's gonna be a long trip.
Yes, but an important one.
How did this happen? Who was he?
I do not know.
What did he want with us? We're nobodies. Did you kill him?
I did what had to be done.
Never leave me alone again. Alright?
All right. Oh,
You've had to kill people before, haven't you?
What is he doing?
You're
Face
used to it.
saying, come on, Dylan. What is he doing?
us to survive.
Animals, I get. They're food.
Being slow.
Draugr, they're supposed to be dead.
Alright.
People, they're trying to survive too.
Close your heart to it.
Okay, that's all I needed.
You will be attacked by all manner of creatures.
I'm gonna go back to
Close your heart.
I'm gonna go back to watching my God of War movie. Cause I'm like so super glad. I was like so sucked in. I was like, I need to do stuff.
Not feel for you.
So I'm getting you sucked into my game.
I mean, come on, it's God of War. You know, I'll sit there and watch you play this damn game. You know. So, alright, I'm gonna go back to watching. I'm gonna go back to watch my movie. And if he doesn't do anything, I get off work in a couple of hours. 3 hours. If he doesn't do anything, just ass on the couch because my hands be flipping his butt.
Alright.
I love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, nowhere to go from here. You think you can lower it from there?
Go.
Made it!
Boy.
Yes, sir. Shh. What is? Worshipping the gods?
Gods care nothing for them. Men should not pray to monsters.
Father, will we see others on the road?
Yes.
Friendly?
No.
They'll try and rob us?
Possibly. Yes.
Oh. Look. All this time, there's been a protection stave around our entire woods. But the stave's broken there. Did you cut those down?
She had marked the tree she wished used for her pyre.
Why'd she do that?
Come. No looking back now.
So, how long will it take to get to the mountain?
I do not know.
Before winter falls?
I do not know.
Okay, okay.
Boy, focus!
Almost there! Ready to go now!
More enemies! Focus up!
Behind you! Behind
Keep the pressure on! More enemies!
Yes. Should I fire?
Wait for my mark.
Almost ready. Sorry, not ready. More behind you. Father, this really hurts. Father, no! Mark Roger? Yeah, behind you! Roger, behind you! All set! Thistledown's fire! How does he do that?
More enemies.
Look out! I can't! Fire! Incoming! Watch out!
Whoever is not my focus should be yours, but only when safe to do so.
I can do that.
Boy, over here.
Sir! There's a Yetnar settlement ahead.
Yetnar,
Giants.
you can read the writing.
Some. Just the language his mother knew. But they're all sort of connected, so sometimes I can feel my way through stuff I shouldn't know. You know? Anything else?
Space your shots. Speed, cost, accuracy.
Got it. Whoa! How'd you do that?
Move.
Thanks. There's the mountain! Let's go!
Not yet.
It's fine! See? Ah! Father, help!
Hang on!
Hurry! I'm slipping!
Stay calm. Almost there.
That wasn't so bad.
Slow down. Your haste will cost us.
Sorry. More Draugr. But these aren't moving. Are they dead? I mean, more dead?
Boy.
Not dead, not dead!
Remember, accuracy over speed.
Behind you! No! Get up!
Remember, accuracy over speed.
Behind you! You're not looking good! There are a lot of trouble around here! Father, no!
Remember, accuracy over speed. Remember! Accuracy over speed.
Father, get up!
Remember, accuracy over speed. Remember, accuracy over speed. Remember, accuracy over speed. Remember, accuracy over speed.
Watch your back! The last one! That was the last one. Is I better?
Take even more time. Does not matter if you fire only once. Show me control.
Look at this. Krista! Oh, this used to be a marketplace. The giants used to gather here to trade with the gods a long time ago. I wonder if Odin was ever